Hey, my friends. Welcome to the Neighborhood Loan Studio for the Dallas Daily Show podcast. Usually I say that in reverse, but today we're going with it. We're at the Neighborhood Loan Studio for the Dallas Daily Show. Today's topic is the closing of the yoga studio. All right, let's get into the conversation. My wife is a yoga teacher. She's a certified yoga teacher. She has been a yoga practitioner now for, 6-7 years. I know some people with certain spiritual beliefs struggle with the idea that a Christian woman would do yoga. Let's just set that aside for now. That's not the conversation that we're having today, okay? Let's just talk about the fact that she has been a teacher at this studio for the last couple of years called Fly Yoga Studio. And it's kind of in Midtown St. Louis. It's a little east of where we are here at the Neighborhood Loan Studio. Did you like the plug there, Taylor? P.S. Taylor's awesome, right? Let's give a hand for Taylor. Unless you're driving, keep it on 10 and 2. Then just be like, woohoo, Taylor. All right. That was all that good juju coming your way right there. So my wife has been a yoga instructor for a couple years at this studio called Fly Yoga, and it's in a part of town where it just didn't take off the way that the owner had hoped that it would. And so she announced just recently that it's going to be closing, and at the moment, my wife does not have a studio to teach in. Okay. She previously worked at a big macro gym. She's worked for other smaller studios. I guess it's hard to keep yoga studios open. But this particular one, it's a beautiful location. I love the space. I wish they could keep it going just because the space is so gorgeous. But someone came to my wife recently and they were saying to her, "Hey, what are you going to do now? Are you still going to practice? Are you still what's going on?" And the way it was being asked to my wife, she kind of dealt with this idea of, well, wait a second. It doesn't mean I'm not a yoga teacher still. It doesn't mean that I'm not a yoga practitioner still, right? I'm still a practitioner. I'm still a teacher. Just because I'm not necessarily teaching every couple of days or every week doesn't mean that's not still in me. It's not still ingrained in me. And it's still part of her identity, regardless of the fact that she's not actively doing it at this exact moment. She'll find a place to land if she so chooses. She pops in and she went and worked with a private school this last week and did yoga class for them, for some of the students, just for flexibility and mobility and all of that. And for her, there's an inner peace practice. She really finds a place to worship God in that space. And it's really intriguing that sometimes our identity is tied to what we are actively doing. That's a really intriguing thought. Versus, no, we are who we are. And it's a weird thing to say. We are who we are, even if sometimes we're stalled in doing what we know we should be doing. Does that make sense? It's one of these ideas that so often people need to know what we're doing now because they wrap our identity in our action versus our action flows out of our identity. So it's a subtle, slight nuance there. And it's, we talked with Virginia Muskies. We recorded with her yesterday in the studio. And I think that episode comes out next week, I think, is when it's actually dropping. One of the things she said is, people aren't who they say they are. They are what they repeatedly do. And I 100% believe that when it comes to, like, hey, if Taylor's telling me she's an honest person and all she ever does is lie to me, that's what Virginia was meaning by that. And you'll hear that next week in the conversation with her. I'm not saying Taylor's a liar, by the way. I'm just using that as the quickest example I can. That was the only example I had in my metaphor holster. Okay, Taylor, sorry. But sometimes we're like, we meet someone and we say to them, "Hey, how are you, man? Who are you? Tell me what you do." And people go, "Oh, well, I'm a blank." And I'm a insurance agent. Oh, I'm a coach trainer. Oh, I'm a yada, yada, whatever it might be, right? And we wrap our identity in the activities of what we are currently doing rather than understanding that actually what we do should flow out of who we are. What we're doing should flow out of who we are. And I would even venture to say, based on the conversation and the premise and the framework of this entire podcast, that actually what we do should flow out of who we are becoming. Because if we're using an operating system from a future version of ourselves, future you, right? What we're doing is old patterns, old traps, old beliefs, old behaviors over here, and we are identifying in what I'm currently doing, and the activity and the identity are all swirled into the triggers, beliefs, behaviors, and the cycle of sedation and the cycle of automated living and all this stuff. You and I, the listeners of this podcast, we've created a future version of ourselves, and what we have said is, oh my goodness, this is who I want to be, and from that, I'm going to do things that are fulfilling. I'm going to do things that allow me to dream. I mean, what we say yesterday in the episode with Arrow, it makes me come alive, right? For him, wrestling makes me feel alive. What about for you? Is what you're doing making you feel alive because of who you are, or are you gaining your identity completely from it? Because if so, when you can't do the thing anymore, your identity will crumble. I think that's a really intriguing thought we should sit with. Are you doing from a place of future being, of who you want to be and become, from a place that makes you feel alive, from a place that sparks you up and you say, I have a bright future? That's what we've been talking about this whole week, the idea that you have a bright future, my friend. Are we doing from that place, from a place of being, or are we finding our being in what we're doing? That's it. That's all I got for you today. Ask yourselves those questions. Who are you really? My wife is a practitioner because she's a practitioner. And she's a teacher because she's a teacher. Whether she's actively doing it right now doesn't matter. It's who she wants to be. It's how she identifies. And from that flows action that reinforces the identity and is an outworking of the identity. Are you doing the same thing? Are you doing the thing that makes you feel alive? Are you looking at a bright future and saying, that's who I want to be, and everything I do reflects that person? Okay, my friends, go out there and have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.